Are you looking for a quick and easy weeknight meal? Or maybe just a different way to prepare ground chicken? Well, I have the perfect solution for you here. This is Pound Dropper's easy 20-minute ground sesame chicken. It smells delicious and it's very easy to prepare. But I haven't tried it yet, so we'll find out together whether I enjoy this or not. It's Pound Dropper, so I'm pretty sure I will. But if you'd like to see how this is done, stick around because it's coming up next. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Roy. I'm a home cook and amateur baker, and I'm here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. And today is someone else's. I got an email from Pound Dropper. I get a weekly email from her with new recipes that are coming up, or maybe old recipes that you may have missed. I just received this one last week, and I thought this might be the perfect one to do for the channel. I have not done this yet, so I don't know how good it is, but it's Pound Dropper, so I'm pretty sure it'll be good. Now this is for what she's calling easy 20-minute ground sesame chicken. Now, I have, as an English teacher, a retired English teacher, a tiny pet peeve with the name because the sesame is not ground. It's the chicken that's ground. So, Pound Dropper, if you're watching, you're probably not, but if you are, I would change it to easy 20-minute sesame ground chicken. But that's just me. If it were my recipe, that's what I'd call it, because the ground should be part of the chicken, not the sesame, but my rant is over. I'm sure it's going to be delicious, so let's go over the ingredients. I have here my cooking spray and some salt and pepper. I have here 1 pound of ground chicken. Now, I ground this myself just before starting this. And if you haven't seen my ground meats video or my sausage at home video, I will put a card up here for one of those, but I'll link them both in the description box. So much cheaper. It was $2.99 a pound for the chicken. And if I'd gotten it as ground itself, it's like $7. $4 extra just for them to grind it when I can grind it at home. So save yourself some money and grind your own meat at home. It's very easy. Go check out that video. This is not part of Pound Dropper's recipe, but you know me, I can't help but to finagle something. I'm just throwing in some frozen peas and carrots. That's probably about 1.5 cups. I didn't measure it. I have here 1/3 cup of low sodium soy sauce. Here is about half a small onion that's been diced. I'm sure I went a little over that because we like onion here. My friend Jennifer Lynn, I know you would leave this out, but I bumped it up a little bit. I have here 1/4 cup of low sodium chicken stock, and here I have 1/4 cup of brown sugar substitute, and you'll be surprised. Once again, I've turned from swerve. I am doing a taste test of 2 different brown sugar replacements. I think that'll probably go up on Sunday. So hit that notification bell so you're alerted when that comes out. I am trying a new brown sugar that was approved by Paul. So that will be coming out soon, so check that out. I have here 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. That's about 3 garlic cloves if you wanted to mince it yourself. I have a 1/2 teaspoon of chili garlic sauce and 1/2 tablespoon of toasted sesame oil. Now there's also scallion and sesame seed that you can add on as an addition. I am going to add that on. I just didn't bring that out yet because it's going on at the end. And that is to taste. So I'm planning on about 1 teaspoon of sesame seeds, and that's the way I calculated it in my recipe builder. Okay, so that's all the ingredients. Let me shuffle a few things around and we will get started. Okay, so in the recipe, I just was looking over the recipe. The second step says to add the ground chicken and onion to the pan, which sounded a little odd to me, so I kept reading. And the third step is to add the ground chicken to the pan. So I think in the email that I got sent, there was a little glitch in the matrix. I'm assuming that she just wants the onions put in first, then we're gonna add in the garlic and then the ground chicken. So that's what I'm going to do. So hopefully that was the plan. In my mind, that's the most logical. So we're gonna cook the onions. I'm over medium heat here for just about 3 minutes, just to let them soften up. Okay, I'm also going to add in my frozen peas and carrots, just so that they have time to soften up, cook down, warm up, etc. And let those cook with the onions for a few minutes. Okay, and while this is cooking, what I'm going to do is mix together the sauce, the soy sauce, the sesame oil, the chili garlic paste, and the mystery brown sugar. And just mix that all together so that way this is ready when it comes time to pour on our sauce. Okay, so that's been cooking for about 3 minutes. I'm going to add in the garlic, and we're just going to cook this for about another minute just to let that garlic enhance its flavors and come to join up with the onion. Okay, so that's been going about a minute. So I'm going to push everything off to the edge. Going to add in our ground chicken. And you just need to cook this, and because I ground it myself, it's really not as clumped as ground chicken you get at the supermarket is. And I'm also going to season it with a little bit of salt. You don't want to put too much because we are using soy sauce, so you don't want it to be overly salted. And some pepper. I will add a little bit more pepper than salt because we do like our pepper around here. All right, so you're just going to cook this. It's already starting to get white on the other side, so I'm just going to flip it and let it cook some on this side, and then just keep chopping it until we have little clumps of cooked chicken all throughout our dish. All right, so the chicken's mostly cooked through. I still see a little pink, but I want to stir all of this together. And I did chop up some scallions, and I have some sesame seeds over here so that I'm ready when this is done, because this will be a quick meal. And I do have some rice that I've cooked over here waiting for this to accompany it. You can use any rice that you want, obviously. You can use cauliflower rice, regular rice, whatever your bites, points, or calories will allow you for the day. I've been pretty good with today, so regular rice works for me. So I'm just chopping this up a little bit more just to make sure. Paul doesn't like it when it's too small, too fine of a mince. He likes little chunks, so you get some substance there, but I don't want anything that's too large. Okay, so now what we're going to do is pour over the sauce, and you want to make sure you get all of the sugar that may be sticking to the measuring cup or bowl, whatever you're using, and just stir that through. And that's going to help to color the chicken, which is why you want to make sure it's cooked first, because the color will throw off being able to tell if it's cooked if you'd added this too soon. Okay, while that sauce heats up, I'm going to take my whisk, and I'm going to whisk the tablespoon of cornstarch into the 1/4 cup of chicken broth. And just whisk that in together. And if it's going to sit for any length of time, keep the whisk nearby, because cornstarch does like to settle on the bottom. So just make sure you're getting all of that cornstarch in there to help thicken this up. So what we're looking to do here is to bring this up to a simmer, and it shouldn't be too long because the pan has been hot, the food inside is hot, so it shouldn't be too long before it begins to simmer. And a simmer is just when you start seeing some steam and seeing little light bubbles form. You don't want to boil, you just want a little bit of a bubble. Like here, you can see it's already beginning to bubble up around the chicken, and that is what we're looking for. So now we are going to add in our cornstarch. If it was soon enough, I don't think I need to worry about the whisk. I can just use my spatula. And then we're going to stir this through, and the cornstarch, once it hits that hot liquid, which is why you want to make sure that your chicken broth is either cold or at room temperature. Because once you add cornstarch to something that is hot, it starts to plump up, seize up, and thicken. You don't want it to thicken into clumps by adding it directly to anything hot. And now she says to continue cooking for 3 to 5 minutes until it has thickened. And honestly, I think it's fairly thick now, but I do want it a little bit thicker. So let me give this a few minutes, and then we're done. Okay, that sauce is pretty well thickened. It's only been maybe 3 minutes. So that's all there is to it. I'm going to turn it off. Now, what I forgot to mention, when I added the chicken and let it cook for a little bit, as I was chopping up the scallions, I did put the whites in here. You want to cook the whites of a scallion or green onion or spring onion, whatever you call it. You want to cook those a little bit because those tend to be a little tougher than the green parts. So I did add those in while the chicken was cooking, just to add in that little extra bump of scallion flavor. Now I'm going to add in the green parts. And as I said, I'm just going to add in about a teaspoon of sesame seeds. I'm just gonna sprinkle this throughout and let that toast up slightly in the heat. It's obviously not gonna toast up really, but there you have it. Pound Dropper's easy 20-minute ground sesame chicken. That's what she named it, so I'm gonna stick with that. But in my head, I'm always swapping the ground to go in front of the chicken. So for one serving of this, as I made it, and she did include green, blue, and purple on hers because this must have been an older recipe that I just never saw before. So for those who are approximating the green plan, this would be 5 bites or points. I'm assuming because chicken, I think, has points on that plan. I'm not positive. I've never done the green, but I think that is the reason. But for me, the bites and points are just 1 per serving. Because I added the sesame seeds, once you get up to 3, I believe it adds that extra bump. If you didn't add the sesame seeds, then it should be 1 per serving across the board, which is why I'm fine with having some rice for 6 bites, 6 points, because this is only 1. And this does serve 4, and she approximates it's about a half a cup serving, but just split it up in the pan like that into little quadrants, and you'll be fine, no measuring needed. If you're following calories, the calories for this would be 187, and if you're following macros, the fat would be 5 grams, the carbs would be 17 grams, the fiber would be 0.4 grams, and the protein would be 27.6 grams, and that's for 1/4 of this dish. Now, if you didn't want to add peas and carrots, you could add broccoli, you could add whatever you felt like adding in. You don't have to add anything at all if you're going to have another vegetable elsewhere. But that's all there is to it. Quick and easy, and I will be back right here and let you know what we thought of it. And the verdict is that it was delicious, very flavorful. Paul was not a fan of the ground chicken just because apparently I did not keep them in large enough pieces. So I will make this again, but instead of using ground chicken, I will just thinly slice the chicken, maybe velvet it like I did in my chicken fried rice video. But otherwise the flavor was great. I enjoyed the ground chicken, but just to keep the peace in the house, next time I will make it with sliced chicken. Well, I hope I enjoyed it. You know I don't, but I will soon enough. But this recipe will be written up. It's not going to be on my blog because it is not my recipe, but I will write it up down below. And also down there, you can find the link to my blog if you're looking for any of my recipes. Also down there is my Amazon storefront, my Fetch rewards, Built Bar rewards. I still have up the Ace Cool link for the little 5-part blender, and I actually ground my meat in that container this time because I didn't want to break out the big food processor for it, so that worked perfectly for a pound of chicken. But that's down there, as well as my social media, the Instagram and Facebook groups. So I guess we're gonna go and dig into this and see how it is. You already know. I will find out in a moment. So until next time, bye.